It wasn't the first time that I was in Germany. I went to work, more precisely, to get training on a product at the headquarters of the multinational that I worked for here in Brazil. The German language was not completely foreign to me, but I was far from fluent. Luckily, in Wolfsburg, many people spoke English, and thus I could survive. I stayed in a hotel a few miles from the Grosser Schillerteich, a large lake in the urban area, which was a city landmark. Our story begins on one of the first lonely nights in the hotel. The restaurant was on the roof, a very interesting place where we had a privileged view of the lake and the city, even at night.
Hallo, guten Abend. Guten Abend, mein Herr. Guten Abend. Was schlagen Sie vor?
Ein Bierfleisch wäre eine gute Idee.
Okay, aber bringen Sie mir bitte zuerst ein Bier.
Sind Sie ein Gast? Wie lautet Ihr Name? Ja, Casagrande.
Es ist kein Deutsch. Ich verstehe es nicht. Könnten Sie es buchstabieren?
Mein Name steht hier. Casagrande. Vielen Dank.
Sind Sie ein Schriftsteller?
Ja, es ist ein schönes Hobby.
Entschuldigung, kann ich das Buch sehen?
Please, sit down. Ich bin Kay Schäfer.
Freut mich, Kay.
Do you write about fantastic things?
Yes, I do. In my spare time.
So young. Now you need another job to earn a living?
In my country, it is not very easy to make money as a writer. Hence, I have another profession, and writing is just a hobby.
Ah, yes. So, you write because you love writing?
Yeah.
If I told you a story, would you write about it?
Maybe. And where are you from?
Aus der Zukunft. From the future.
Then I thought a lot of nonsense, and when the plug fell, I concluded, gosh, I met a crazy woman.
It is a fantastic story that I would tell you. After all, as you say, you write fantastic stories. You will like what I have to tell you.
I took her words as a joke, and to be honest, felt a bit uneasy. Still, I didn't want to come off as rude, so I figured I'd play along for a few more moments, throw a line back, laugh politely, keep it light, then make my escape.
From the future, but precisely where and when?
Right here, 200 years into the future, more precisely, 2210.
I had a friend whom I haven't seen in a long time who wrote a book about future technologies. The knowledge for his prophecies came from astral travels he undertook in a controlled manner.
Your analogy was a bit unfortunate, but I do not mind. If you want to listen to me, it is enough. Young. I thought that a writer of fantastic tales would be an open-minded person.
Yes, I am. One story needs time and place. References are required. Come on, tell me about how things will be, or rather, as things were in Wolfsburg in 2210. I'm curious.
Very different. Imagine the city where you were born 500 years ago if it existed for 500 years. It's the same feeling in proportional terms.
From 2010 to 2210, the technology developed even more rapidly than it did from 1510 to 2010. This brought a radical change under all scenarios of the world. In Germany, and more precisely Wolfsburg, even in places where the changes were smaller in proportion,
The technology has greatly contributed to changing the world scenarios. In most ways, it was generally positive. But this same technology, it could not counteract the lack of reason and sensibility or the irresponsibility of people in these 200 years. And despite all of the technological amenities,
The overwhelming majority of people live in a nightmare in 2210, even those in Wolfsburg.
Tell me, in 2210, does a cure exist for cancer?
There is a cure for cancer. But new diseases that are just as bad cause equivalent suffering, and for these diseases, there are no cures.
And the space flights? Have we went somewhere beyond the moon? Have we found life on other planets? Has the existence of dark matter been proven? The wormholes.
beruhige dich, beruhige dich.
I have to tell you that I am an astrophysicist.
I could reveal to you stunning and very important things that have not been discovered to Tutan-10. But I must trust you first.
No. How about I trust you first?
No, I say. You have nothing to lose, except some time spent listening to a crazy old woman.
But I have much to lose if you are not the right person.
However, I am 215 years old.
Oh, you do not look old. Maybe crazy, but not old.
You can trust me.
Good.
Interesting. Very interesting. Then in 2210, you went into a time machine and came back in time to meet with yourself.
When you were 15, and give advice to yourself regarding the mistakes
You committed in order to change your future.
Do not be silly. No, I did not come to this place and time with that intention. That would be really stupid of me. You seem a little foolish, I think.
And I think I'll choose someone else.
But will someone who is not a fool like me want to hear a crazy story like that?
A lot of smart people like to hear fantastic stories, even if one thinks that it is a lie.
If it were not so, many writers of your time would not have been successful.
Okay, you win. Go ahead, please.
You need to know a little about the scenario of 2210 so that you understand things better. In 2210, we reached a world population of 100 billion people.
Imagine the hell that the world has become with so many people.
I looked at her thoughtfully. I did not know exactly what the world's population was. I thought it was around 6 or 7 billion. 100 billion was really terrifying. Will we get there?
I love life. I'm not suicidal in any way. But if I had to live in a world that has 100 billion people, I hope that is in a quiet grave.
I don't know about what you in 2210, but it's quite possible that your desire for a tomb will come true much earlier. Anyway, I do not want to discourage you by talking about matters of life and death. Other things I actually have to tell you will leave you very sad.
Around 2010, governments, companies, and people in general have always had the objective of growth. In a capitalist world, it seems very necessary that the mass consumer always batten. Each year, companies want to sell more to increase their profits. Philosophically, it seems like a good thing.
Certainly. Every year we need to sell more.
Producing more provides more jobs, allowing one to earn more.
That's true. One way a company surpasses its competitors was by forcing them out of the market and taking over their customers. But this strategy has limits. Real sustained growth depends on an increase in the number of consumers. After all, a person typically needs only one television, one home, and one car at any given time.
So, as a rule, to sell more, there must be more people. The growth of consumption only is stimulated with population growth.
But there's a big problem. Human growth, causing the growth of consumption, should be a continuous feedback system. But it is not.
The production of food is limited. The air we breathe is limited.
Then in 2210 we will reach these limits?
Exactly.
Makes sense. The things are finite.
They are. Technology has done everything possible to prevent it, but the quality of life has long been falling. From 20,200 onwards, it turned really unsustainable.
Many nations have been worried about that today. Countries like Germany, for example, speak up against population growth.
It was not enough. Some nations had treated problems of birth and the environment a serious mode.
Others did not. Principally, the most populated ones.
Over time, the natural boneland's beaten. Our environment is very fragile, very critical.
As the world was covered with asphalt, concrete, and people, the climate changed. Nature was out of balance and consequently aggressive towards its inhabitants.
Yeah, I've seen things like that. Even in my country, where population density is currently not anything is disturbing.
And Brazil, what is it like in 2010?
Do you really want to know?
Fake NGOs that were passed by environmentalists under pretenses of protecting indigenous entities, mining enterprises, and landowners of other nations were buying everything. Progress always comes. Highways, cities, trees felled, problems with the beds of major rivers losing volume, water levels falling, rain getting scarce, but no different from most of Africa in 2010. But the worst came in 2150. A war indeed. Someone said that if it cannot be mine, it will not be of anyone then. The old battle between capitalism and communism. And some atomic bombs did a lot of damage. People around the world suffered at the time.
Wow, how you are pessimistic, woman.
Sorry, it would be better if it were a lie.
And the rest of Brazil? Was it also destroyed?
Not exactly, but unrecognizable to you.
Cities have grown a lot and the quality of life deteriorated. The Chinese took over almost everything. After the 2025 bang, they spread across the world. They became a superpower. A superpower was able to destroy the economy of most nations. Brazil became a victim to the point of losing its sovereignty. It all started with changes in politics, forced by the Chinese conquerors, who brought new habits which destroyed the freedom of their citizens. In other words, in 2010, Brazil is one of the colonies of China.
It was a very nice dinner.
For me too. The nights here in Wolfsburg have been very lonely. To talk to someone is good.
You do not believe in anything I told you about, right?
Despite our respectful conversation, which feels like a healthy game, I honestly do not believe in the possibility of time travel, literally.
I see, it's an intriguing idea, even if just theoretical.
A trip to the future, yes, for time runs forward. To the past, no, never. What had happened has happened, and as much as mathematics tries to treat it differently, time is no dimension. It's not measured about the size of objects, it's just the succession of events. Time has a ratchet that does not allow backward momentum. I believe that all of this is nothing more than speculation, and at some point, some Richard Dawkins will pull us out of this fantastic illusion.
Demonstrates how species adapt through natural selection, a process that has shaped the diversity of life over millions of years.
Ah, Richard Dawkins. He is of your time.
From our time, Miss K.
What could I do to prove that I speak the truth?
I was then very, very thoughtful. How far could this interesting game be carried? Was she a social worker for the company, disguised as a crazy person in seeking traces of insanity in this employee? I smiled to myself. This was paranoia. Indeed, in another place and different conditions, I would have believed that this was some fraud to extort money or something. The image of Miss K and her ways, however, did not give me that impression. She just came off as an intelligent person, educated and lonely, and perhaps schizophrenic, but certainly harmless.
I am a person like you. I do not know everything, only those things that were more relevant to me. I am not a history professor. I'm an astrophysicist.
Aha! So you can then resolve a physical or mathematical formula, which until today has not been resolved. Okay? And that will be resolved by someone in my future that in relative mode will be your past.
This was not my idea. I read something like this in the book by Carl Sagan called The Demon-Haunted World. Sagan said he received many letters from people who said they were captured or abducted by UFOs. In general, aliens demonstrate a great wisdom, but the whole essence of philosophy is, of course, vague and open to ambiguity. Hence, Sagan went to them with some unresolved formula in physics or mathematics, asking the person who was visited by aliens to ask these advanced beings if they could resolve such calculations. These people, of course, have never returned.
That would be dangerous. If I give you the know-how of something that was only discovered in 2050,
For example, and you publish it, and some technology is anticipated, it would be changing what has already happened. This would lead us to a very dangerous paradox that is unpredictable if we were to do it.
So what's the point in your beam here? Why did you return to the past if you do not intend to change it? Is your presence here no longer a paradox? Are you not changing the past by being back in the city where you lived when you were 15 years old? Another thing, why have we never known until now about the other time travelers who came from the future?
I don't know. Maybe I am the first. Okay, it is a recent discovery. It's an experiment. I honestly do not know what will happen when I return, if I return. But to stand here was a meddling of greatest success.
many scientists have posed such questions. It is almost insane, really, I know. But there are many insane things in this universe.
Our choice was based on potential traces that I had actually been here. And so I convinced the rest of the team.
Well, let me see if I understand. You and your team back in 2210, even before they sent you to the past, suspected that this had actually happened because your colleagues found traces that you planted in 2010, right?
That's right. Other travelers may have already done the same. We just do not have any records.
Okay, so why they will suspect that it happened? You will leave clues?
In my visit, I leave 3 very interesting pieces of evidence, which can be surveyed in 2210. 2 of these events were proven. In 2010, we still do not know what the third is, and only I can decide what it will be.
You can leave something in writing in a capsule buried over the earth.
It could be, Young, it could be. But I believe I'll think of something more subtle.
Here is your orange juice, madam.
Thank you.
And your beer, sir. Thanks.
Okay, so tell me, what were the 2 signs already known?
We will find a short story by a science fiction writer, a Brazilian, A Sinister Tale.
With a certain lady in a hotel in Wolfsburg. He used an invented name.
He did not use her real name. In that story, he tells exactly what happens now.
Other evidence is fragmented. They are memories from when I was 15 years old. And now I'm 215.
What's this about 215 years? You have been fifth long time.
Oh, thank you. You are very gallant. I very much miss being 50. But that is past.
Science has worked hard in pursuit of sustaining life. Not exactly the rejuvenation, but the maintenance. And at one point, it succeeded. In short, my body is physically more or less frozen at 50. That is, physically, I age very slowly. Wonders of genetics that will be discovered in the next 30 years. Benefit to individuals to give them longevity and quality of life, but in turn, it further contributed to the overall declining quality of life on Earth.
I understand. If people live more, then there are more people to compete with those that are born, and consequently, exacerbate the problem of population density.
Exactly. None of us refuse a long life. Unless that is, one is already very tired. Too tired, even.
It would not be my case. Would it be yours?
No. Although the place and time where I come from is not a paradise like this, I am engaged in very interesting scientific research. Thus, although, despite the horror around, my life has been rewarding.
If it weren't for that, I would trade it for a life here in your time.
I imagine myself 100 years ago, a time of hats and walking sticks, when the Rio de Janeiro would have still been a small town with horses, carts, and people walking through a very young Cinellandia.
You still have a green planet. You still have some forests, a variety of life, nature, air to breathe. Corners where you can be alone. There are still many animals, different of cockroaches, rats, and pigeons to be seen. You have no idea. I do not want to scare you, but
Not all the technology we have in 2210 is worth anywhere near what you still have in 2010.
You cannot imagine how terrible it is to know that over 80% of the planet's surface is covered by concrete or asphalt. The 20% of remaining Earth is used for farming, to desperately generate food and some other things that we cannot yet produce indoor. The last lion was killed in 2050 within a decaying zoo. The last elephant in 2061. Times are bad, very sad. The human race did indeed triumph over all others, but the glory of being practically alone is mundane and disgusting.
I looked into her eyes, and it did not seem to be an act. She spoke as if from the heart, and I knew that considering the probabilities, the future for humanity was likely morbid and caused by us humans. None of the great disasters of A Choice of Catastrophes by Isaac Asimov, or any of the prophecies by Nostradamus, or Armageddons, or apocalypses. Nothing would be as cruel as an overpopulated world without even a piece of green, no trees, no food, no jobs, no place to live, no air to breathe. Clearly upset, she was silent for a long time. Then I heard in the background a little courtesy from the restaurant. Mr. Brayman had turned on some background music.
Ich kam nach Berlin an einem stillen Morgen. Der Himmel grau, doch voller Licht. Die Straßen trugen alte Sorgen. Und jede Ecke sprach zu mir leise Gedichte.
It's a beautiful song.
yes, it's a beautiful song. What nostalgia, it's been a long time since I last heard it.
It's something from my childhood.
I want to ask you a big favor.
If it is within my reach,
I would love to see my parents.
By far, of course. I have not dared to do it. Maybe if you come with me.
I just want to see them from afar. I will not bother them. It has to be in the afternoon when I'm at school.
They will be home alone, not far from here. But we will need a car.
no problem. The company loaned me a car during my stay here. When do you want to do this visit?
Could it be tomorrow afternoon?
I leave at 4 o'clock. I will come up here at 4:20.
You are an angel. Thank you. Now I'm tired. I'm going down to my room.
It was really a great pleasure to meet you.
I did not comment about what had happened to anyone in the company. I did not think it was wise, but I was imagining the possible risks of giving a ride to a stranger who claimed to have come from the future. So I took some precautions. Before leaving the company, I called the hotel and spoke with Ms. K. I confirmed our plans for the strange visit and got the address. I opened up Google Maps and identified the location. I showed the site to a colleague, asking for any suggestions.
Ah, es ist eine ruhige Gegend und ganz in der Nähe.
On how to get there. It was very simple, very close. Wolfsburg is a small place. If I vanished, somebody would know where I went, at least.
British punctuality! You can park here. It is the house.
And now?
Okay, we can wait.
Forgive me. I do not know exactly what we are doing here. You see, I cannot go there, knock on the door, and say to my parents, I am your daughter, Kay, but not now, but the one that came free from the future to visit them.
Well, I don't know what to do for you.
You do not understand. I'll lose them soon.
Then they will die, and you came here to warn them, so that it does not happen.
Let's get out of here. Please take me away.
Wait, look.
In dawn's pale light, I see your face, a whisper on the empty air, your silhouette in time and space, yet you are no longer there. I trace the chords of memory, each note a tear I cannot.
I think I owe you some explanation.
Believe me, they look younger than me, but they are my parents. It was very emotional to see them again. I wanted to go there and hug them, kiss them, exalt them.
But of course, I cannot and should not do that.
My presence here has to be very invisible and must be kept that way.
If you want to go back to the hotel, we can go. When I was 15, I won the lottery. My mother was paying the bills with what little she received for her work in the car factory. My father was unemployed. Our situation was pretty bad, and I needed to continue my studies. Then I started to buy tickets with lunch money whenever I could. And under very strange circumstance, I had the great luck of winning. That money changed our destiny. Because of that, I was able to go to London. I went to study at one of the best universities in the world and became who I am today.
Do you like them? Will you come with me?
Bitte. Bitte, Zvi Alpha-Strudel.
I cannot claim the money directly, but it also brought disgrace. When I received it, and it was a lot of money, my parents would not take a penny for themselves. My father's idea was I keep all the money in my name to pay my studies and have independence. But as I said, it was a lot of money. After much persuasion, we did the following. We divided the money into 4 parts. 2 parts would be in my name, and I could only use it when I came of age. 1 part would be with them, and another with my older brother, who was in Berlin. And with their part, I insisted that before anything, they take a good vacation to get out of the depression.
Depression caused by their previous financial condition.
For a long time, I blamed myself for it. I blamed the money, too. But now I understand that was fate. I did not force them to travel with bad intentions. I wanted them to have fun. I loved them. They were good parents.
Then they will die on this trip.
No, they died on the trip. It is in the past and cannot be changed. It has happened.
It has not happened yet. And if we interfere in any way and this trip does not happen?
How? This has happened to me.
For you, this has already happened. Not for me. For me, the day we are living now precedes that event.
The Woyot telling me I'm very discouraged and confused. From my reference point, we are talking about the future. If we cannot prevent them from making the trip from my point of view, then the future cannot be changed. The future is already sealed then. This no makes sense.
Hier sind die Strudel.
Thank you, they look wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Guten Appetit.
Is there strudel in 2210?
Not as such. Not for the vast majority. The world is at war, and people are killing one another. The violence has desensitized the populace. Only a privileged few can still afford such delicate food made by hand. The vast majority eat something that today you would call dog food of poor quality. That is when they eat. When they are not victims of hunger, which plagues the world.
Tell me, really, who were those people?
I can't blame you for your skepticism. But believe me, they were the most important people in the world to me. The ones I really loved, without reservations.
Well, I believe it.
I'm going to tell you a few things now that I think you should write down so you don't forget. But this is not the appropriate place. Let's go. I have no more doubts that you're the one. Du bist der Richtige.
That's quite strange, don't you think? This game is scaring me.
Take it easy. First, I must tell you a bit about time travel. By around 2010, there was already talk of a remote scientific possibility in wormholes. I believe that as a writer of fiction, you have been intrigued by this subject.
Ah, finally. Let's talk about something that at least has some scientific basis.
This theory came in waves. It was dropped and resumed multiple times. 2 years ago, in 2190, Dalton, a physicist from London, managed to create a small first experimental event.
These events are extremely unstable, lasting fractions of a second. Unfortunately, they depend on other events in the universe which are constantly changing.
But from there, I got to work on his team. And in 2210, we managed to keep a wormhole stale for a long time, a few seconds, in the same place and time on both sides.
It was just big enough for a person to be able to pass from one side to the other without falling apart.
As you participated in this wonderful project, then you should have a thorough understanding of its architecture. You must know in detail the mathematics, basic science and technology, things that would be worth much to humanity today. Could you confide in me the details?
That's a significant request.
I do not know if I could pass in a week 20 years of research. But I'll see what I can do for you. I can explain about technologies, generically with no detail. Nothing you can use to build a time machine, but I'll leave a little present for you.
Better than any information which you cannot use today, a surprise. Rest assured, I will give you something much interesting in trade for a small favor.
When I went up to my room, I imagined the possibilities about Miss K. She had advanced acknowledgments about physics. Also, I did not doubt that she was an educated and refined person. It was clear, too, that she had a deep emotional bond with the couple. But as for this nonsense of her having come from the future, this lie, or this little game, if indeed she was not a schizophrenic person, would she have any reason to create for herself an artificial reality? And I trusted her. She seemed a harmless person, and I hoped that I was not mistaken, so I could have fun with the situation. The night before with Mrs. K was quite nice. Why not continue to listen to her crazy story? Around 8 o'clock, as promised, I arrived at the hotel restaurant.
Did you see? That couple was very kind.
When we are few, it is natural that we are polite and kind. When we are many, courtesy is replaced first by indifference and then by hostility.
I once saw a documentary where a scientist confined a few mice to a very small cage. He watched their behavior changes as they reproduced and infested the place. Their shy but balanced behavior gave way to violent individuals who deliberately attacked each other.
So is it also with men?
Perhaps worse, since man has an animal instinct far more territorial than mice.
Today. Sorry, I mean, in 2210, a few privileged people can be living separately from the masses in gated communities.
They are great architectural complexes, surrounded by walls and shielded from above, where even the air and other weather conditions are isolated from the outside world. Although there are thousands of these communities scattered throughout the world, included some over the ocean, they harbor less than 4% of the global population. Few can pay for it. Over 80% of the population lives in precarious conditions. Miserable. The big cities will cover perimeters so extensive that you will not know where to begin or end each one. It is only urban areas. There is pollution in excess, garbage in excess, filth, urban pests, and outbreaks of cockroaches and rats that eat people, and a fierce struggle against huge flocks of pigeons who devour everything in their path.
Who knew? Today we see pigeons as messengers of peace. And dogs and cats? How did they fare?
There are few left. Only people with good financial resources can keep them.
You will experience this problem. I'm not very good with dates.
In 2020, a crazy president in a defunct country called North Korea will decree the end of pets. Families will be forced to dispose of them. It was the first of the great killings. Around 2040, almost all governments worldwide will be charging absurd amounts for a person to be allowed to keep a pet. They will invent a series of insurances, registers, and other needs, as always, to extort money from the population at large in favor of a parliamentary or administrative minority.
They will charge IPVA for animals.
What is IPVA?
Oh, this is something of Brazil. It's a rent you pay for something you've bought that doesn't really belong to you. Here in Germany, you should have something similar so that you can use a car.
Ah, KFZ. Yes, it is the same thing. They made one for animals.
At one point, on everything you can imagine, a malicious government will have created a fee.
Taxes will increasingly defeat the people, and each time people will be less united, and they will become more submissive to the powerful. Around 2100, however, many groups isolated themselves. In fact, terrorism, assassinations, suicides, and much violence will lead politicians and other powerful people to create these fortress communities, which they call condominiums, to be able to continue living and exploiting the productive mass. The idea of private property was progressively extinguished. Therefore, rulers became absolute owners of everything, selling usage rights to those who could still emerge from poverty.
The world in 2210 resembles the historical Middle Ages, but with overpopulation.
What about human rights? The freedom of the people?
Don't make me laugh. Freedom and rights are directly proportional to money and power, even in 2010. Now imagine that in a world where 100 billion people are starving.
I imagine that in the future people would all be chubby. As in WALL-E.
WALL-E? What is it?
It's a cine production, a movie. There was a robot.
Oh, I think I remember it vaguely. About the trash. It was like that, yes.
However, no one could build great spaceships to go on cruises through the galaxies and get fat. Space research has always been expensive. Few were interested, few sponsored it.
So, what about the space flights?
There were few, mostly unmanned missions.
We went to Mars, at least?
Manned mission? Yes, in August 13, 2020 was the first mission. Many people suggested building condominiums there. But the idea has not taken off to this day. Sorry, until 2210. The maintenance would be very, very expensive. In 2010, we are more concerned with survival. The powerful are increasingly concerned for their safety, and they grab and keep what they have. And the rest strive to eat just to last another day. Living conditions, for the majority, are unhealthy.
You scare me. It cannot be that bad.
Yes, it can. Perhaps worse than you may be able to imagine.
I doubt that happens, my dear. There are good people in the world, idealists. Every day we get more and more conscious about the ecology, environmental conservation, and the need to curb the population explosion.
But it happened.
Well, there must be something good to toast.
To our friendship. There was a fable or something talking about boiling a frog. Do you know it?
I think so.
Well then. If you throw a frog into a pot of hot water, it jumps out and can even survive.
However, if you place it in a pot with cold water, it sits there quietly, playing dead.
Then you heat the water until it boils. It is cooked and dies without stirring.
As I told you before, I do not believe we allow this to happen.
It happened. The vast majority allowed it to happen, like the frog in boiling water.
Well, if it already happened and it can't be changed, there's no point in leaving the comfort zone, right?
So, why are you here?
Why am I here? There is no direct record of my presence in 2010. But there are consequences of my presence. Here perhaps come some of the possibilities initially suggested by Dr. Einstein. I have my own frame of reference in time, or rather, my own point of observation. Time is still running to me, although I have leaped from the year 2210 to the year 2010. Here, my consciousness exists twice, which implies that we are in fact two independent consciousnesses. The younger self, which is only 15 years old, and the old me, which is facing you.
Not so old. Really, if I were not a committed man, I would have courted you.
Oh, you're very kind, young. However, the old me progressed for 200 years under normal conditions, always toward the future.
Until at some point we tuned a wormhole lasting several seconds, and I leave this normal sequence.
And then brought Brahmani back in the timeline 200 years in the same geographical location.
It is interesting, but not answer my question.
Please don't interrupt me with your skepticism. We perceive with our eyes 3 physical dimensions. We do not perceive a 4th dimension because even though we occupy it, it is outside our conscious. But we feel its effects.
A weak gravitational field is really a small ripple in the 4th dimension, and a strong gravitational field, a large intrusion of the 4th dimension. If we imagine that each dimension is a plane, like the 3 we perceive, we could imagine the following fantasy. We could change places by moving through the 4th dimension, instead of going forward, sideways, or vertically.
Yes, this idea has appeared for some time, repeatedly in fiction novels or books of scientific speculation.
Okay, and they're right. And concerning time, it is very similar. But unfortunately, we perceive only a single dimension, i.e., time is like a line where we can only go in one direction. As you suggested, there should be a ratchet that prevents us from coming back. To our minds, this line seems straight and inclusive. The more we walk forward, the farther we are from the point where we started our measurement. We cannot return, we cannot stop, or wander, or go faster. Okay?
That seems right.
It is wrong, and you know it.
You can go faster, you can stop, and you can go backwards. And this hub racer, all the time in a micro-universe.
Our prodigy was to expand small-scale situations and create a wormhole, which is really a passageway through another dimension or timeline, which allowed me to come here. We've been analyzing.
There is a balance between speed, displacement, and space. Gravity, offset in the 4th dimension, and the 1st dimension of time, that puts our minds at one point of comfort in this universe, a holy grail that allows us to trace our journey, called life, along a stable path, albeit a negligible fraction of the universe's time. What we did was break the balance for a few seconds, and here I am. But be aware, although we believe that we can prove this mathematically at larger facilities, in practice, in 2210, we are lacking extensive financial resources, and our achievement is under serious limitations. In response to the wormhole that opened here and there, in exactly 600,000 seconds, or slightly less than a week, nature will bounce through a process of action and reaction with another reversional wormhole, sending me back.
Oh no, that's too bad. I have to stay here a month.
I was hoping you would stay too. So you don't have much time.
3 days?
Weniger als die. It was an accident by chance that I chose this hotel. And I found you young the first night.
It seems that the universe is conspiring for the outcome of events that will take place.
I do not need you to believe that I have really come from the future,
or even that I am 200 years old. But I need you to do something for me. It is nothing difficult. I unfortunately made a very serious mistake.
But by the time that I realized it, it was too late.
I should be here in the 3rd week of October, not in the 1st.
And so?
So I need you to deliver something to me, or rather to the young me, on the correct day and time as it happened.
If it happened and cannot be changed, what is the concern?
There's a sequence. First, I need to give you the mission so that you can then execute it. We need to be sure
Why the
of this,
resurgence?
so as
Because some
not to
diseases were
create
eradicated
any
or extinct long ago,
inconsistencies.
certain formulas have
Despite
lost. One of
all
them,
the
the
scientific
plague, so familiar and
rationale
deadly in
and
mankind's past, came back with incredible
you do
force in
not want to
2210.
take
That's
risks.
terrifying.
A message, some information, that's it.
If it is nothing illegal, fine.
It is difficult to define the legality or ethics in this case. It will be privileged information that is very important to me.
I was confused. We will change the future.
Never, in any way. It already happened. I'm not changing anything.
What happened in 2210 is a consequence of my presence here in 2010, closing the cycle. Excuse me, I'll be right back.
I was still confused. It was not just a strange game. It was indeed a challenge. But if it was something illegal, dangerous, or too much work, I could back out at any time. The small favor done in the afternoon, for example, did not cost me anything. So I thought, let's see what mysteries this strange mind still holds to offer me.
What if something unexpected happens and I can't deliver your message? Does it have to be in person?
That's how it happened. If it's done any other way, there will be inconsistency. It's a difficult question to answer. If this happens, then it is possible to change the past. So I would not be here with the memories of the young me.
I did some independent research and found the names of the people who had lived in the house she claimed was her parents' home. There really was a girl named Kay, and almost everything matched, except the surname. At the hotel, Ms. Kay was registered under a different last name, and that was as far as I could reasonably investigate without being intrusive. That afternoon, someone at the company mentioned an upcoming rock concert at the company's cultural space. I didn't know the band, but my coworkers spoke highly of it and noted that even the Rolling Stones had played there before. Employees received free tickets and could bring a guest. The afternoon shift ended early because our instructor had to leave, so I returned to the hotel to check my emails.
What is the value of such pleasure?
How much is this pleasure worth? Because we don't have coffee in 2210.
Large companies transferred their factories to countries that enslaved people.
By doing so, they reduced costs and increased profits. This led to the closure of local businesses.
Over time, these inhumane nations became global powers.
They began imposing a diminished way of life on the world, erasing old habits and small luxuries. Coffee was one of them.
In 2010, I and many people around me, we were building the decadent world in which I live in 2210. Why do we make our decisions based only on short-term consequences? In Germany and some European countries, there was a collective awareness that population stability would quickly bring about a better quality of life. The growth should occur in terms of quality rather than quantity. Unfortunately, there was an uncontrolled demographic growth in other nations, whether through ignorance, poverty, or religious fanaticism. None of this has changed, only worsened. Worsened until it became unsustainable. Millions of people are dying in 2210 of hunger, pestilence, disease from lack of hygiene, poor air quality, environmental problems, and poor quality food.
The words of Miss Kay really impressed me. Yes, this is how we are building our future. We hardly think of our children and think even less about the children of our children's children. I may have truly been affected by those words of revolt. However, if everything else that Miss K had said was the illusion of a schizophrenic mind, which creates an artificial world around a person that she thinks is real, in contrast, those words were the most terrible truth. To relieve her of that obsessive subject, I commented about a show and showed her the invitations.
I would love to go. However, it does not sound like a good idea. I don't know.
Why not?
Because my young me will be there.
I do not know if I have the emotional control to do that.
We will be in a space reserved. It will be very difficult to come across the other K.
Well, so I can't refuse. It's so much nostalgia. What a thrilling game.
If I were a psychologist, I might not have been so surprised by Miss K. I was pondering the human need for illusions to live and how it is important to the majority, but not all people can maintain some balance in their lives. When reality is rude, it does create an immense amount of good angels to protect us, demons that can justify our mistakes, and gods to give meaning to our lives. Some of us become writers. Anyway, fantasizing is something intrinsic to humans. Sometimes we believe things that are extremely absurd, and we close our eyes to the daily evidence to the contrary, because living a dream is often sweeter than the frustrations of the real world. A mind like Miss K's would not work very differently from mine or any person's mind considered socially normal. Schizophrenia has been defined by the degree to which a person needs to create a delusion in order to deal with anxiety being above a certain predetermined measure, a threshold. That is, if someone has already established that number. Perhaps I was even crazier than that nice old lady for being sympathetic towards her and her fantastic story.
Sie war zu jung, es zu verstehen. Warum Stimmen einfach gehen? Zwei Lichter wurden stilles Licht und die Nacht verließ sie nicht. In Worten aus Papier und Zeit suchte sie nach Sicherheit. Sie lernte, nichts zu fühlen, baute Träume aus kaltem Willen. Sie gewann die Welt, doch war allein, denn kein Erfolg bringt Liebe heim. Sie erreichte, was sie sehen wollten, doch niemand blieb, sie zu halten.
Sie kannten das Feuer in ihrem Blick. Wissenschaft war ihr Weg zurück.
Is young K here?
Yes, but I have not seen her. I don't know, but don't worry. I think at 15 I would not recognize my older self.
Behind us. Is that who I think it is?
Yes, don't look at her. This is crazy.
Sie lernte, nichts zu fühlen.
On the fourth night, we opted to dine at the apartment of Miss K. She then went on a little more with her creative dissertation.
Why the resurgence?
Because some diseases were eradicated or extinct long ago, certain formulas had lost. One of them, the plague, so familiar and deadly in mankind's past, came back with incredible force in 2210.
That's terrifying.
I'm taking a few bottles of the Matrix for vaccine production.
Bubonic plague? Isn't that spread by rats?
Exactly. Outside the condominiums, there is a law of garbage everywhere. These tests spread. And since there is practically no room for seclusion, and people live huddled together, any contagious disease spreads with frightening speed. In a world of poverty, rationing and food shortages, water shortages and uncontrolled violence, lack of hygiene is an expected consequence.
We know that it exists around us. It can be said that we are privileged. In poorer nations or less fortunate places in developing nations, this is very common these days.
No, you're wrong. You're not taking my words seriously. In 2210, things are chaotic, marching to the end. In 2010, well over half the population of the world lived in respectable conditions. In 2210, it is less than 5%.
So, with so much poverty, how could anyone invest in an extravagant project? Like time travel. It must have been expensive, right?
A group of successful investors bankrolled the project, as I said. When I return, they will have the final confirmation that they can retire somewhere in the past and live a life of peace and harmony. A luxury for a minority who can afford it.
Crazy even.
That night, Miss K seemed a little tenser. Perhaps her schizophrenia was finally showing through it. That serenity of the previous days was over. She was probably already out of control. I was a little worried, no doubt. Although I realized it, I preferred to keep it to myself. Then I could stay the peace with her. A little later, she took a paper from her purse and handed it to me. On the little bit of paperback, there were 6 numbers written in pen, separated by hyphens. Below that was what looked to be a date and time.
This is, without a doubt, the most important mission I will leave you with. You will need to deliver these numbers to young K. It should happen exactly on the good day and hour written down at the lottery shop of Popkestrasse Street. Please, I beg you.
Young K does not know me. She might think I'm a nutcase or a pervert. These numbers seem like a gambling guess, already that we are speaking about Lottery House.
That's right. When I was young, I won the lottery. Everything exactly as I told you. I won because a man I met in the lottery house suggested that I play. And this man was you.
So these are the numbers that will be drawn.
Others will be drawn into the game of European Lotto. With the money in my possession, my life will continue as normal. I can't give the numbers to young K because you were the one who gave them to me.
Miss K, you have my word. I will do it. But I have to ask, if I place the bet as well, would it change your past?
No, half of that is for you, and half of it is for me, or rather to young K. That's what happens.
What about that parents?
Unfortunately, it is something that we cannot change. I would love it, but I do not think it is possible. And if possible, of course, it is dangerous.
That was the last night that I saw Miss K. I knew the next night, by Mr. Bremen, that she had left the hotel. In the following nights, nothing special happened. I took the weekend to experience the Oktoberfest in Munich, hoping to escape the tedium of a long weekend at the hotel. The following week, my dinners were lonely. There was no one from the future staying at a modest hotel in Wolfsburg to fantasize away my cold nights. Time passed, and finally, the time to return to Brazil arrived. I was released at 4 in the afternoon on my last day of training, as expected.
Cheers to that.
I walked from the hotel to Porstrasse, which was not far away. On the way, I passed the chapel of St. Christopher Kirche, and checked the time on the big clock, making sure I did not need to hurry. I remembered that Ms. K told me she was going to Mass another day, how she had done when she was small. At 4:30, I was already in place. I was in a cafe next door, watching the movement. As predicted, the skinny girl I had seen briefly at the rock concert appeared and went straight to the queue for the lottery house, with money and betting stub in hand.
Hallo.
Hallo.
Junges Mädchen, entschuldigen Sie mich.
Natürlich.
If you want to win the lotto, you should play the numbers that I'm playing. See, here are the numbers.
Oh, interesting. Thanks for the tip.
No problem.
How are you so sure who will win?
I had a dream about these numbers, and I think it was a prophetic dream.
I'd rather play my numbers. Do you know why? I want to win alone. The award will be all mine. If I play your numbers and win, I'll only win half the prize.
Half is better than nothing. See how generous I am? I'm giving you the chance to get a half part of a large fortune.
I'll just check if I have enough for 2 games. Yes, I have enough.
Okay, you are a man of faith. Maybe you're right. I'll make one more card. If you want to copy my numbers, you can too. I had no prophetic dream, but I think we have the same chance to win if either of the 2 guesses.
It is the same chance of a meteor right for our heads.
Guten Tag, ich möchte gerne an diesen Lottospielen teilnehmen.
It was strange, but her laugh had a familiar ring. She actually had some resemblance to Miss K. A daughter? Maybe. Upon seeing the girl, I reasoned an acceptable version of Miss K's unbelievable story. It seemed likely that she would be Miss K's daughter, raised by her sister. That couple, possibly a sister and her husband, they were not young K's parents, of course. For some obscure reason in the past, Miss K had to abandon her daughter to her sister. It was indeed a great possibility. I had already subjected myself to the absurd whim of the strange woman, and believe it or not, at that moment, somehow, I was very pleased to have created a subtle way to fulfill her desire.
Where are you from?
My German is apparently terrible, no? I come from Brazil. I am here to work, but tomorrow I go back home.
Oh, Brazil! If I win the lotto, I will visit Brazil.
Oh, good. Be sure to look for me.
You're in a social network?
Yes, I am. Es war schön, dich zu sehen.
Fand ich auch. Mach's gut.
Du auch. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Was it the intention of Ms. K that you make a bet for yourself?
Maybe. It seemed a subtle way of passing the numbers to the girl. I was just an unknown and foreign person. Upon approach, she could have even thought that I was a pervert.
The result comes out tomorrow. And if the Ms. K really knew the correct numbers, I do not know. I always thought that these lotteries are all marked cards.
It sounded insane, until the next day, when I discovered I had won half of a huge fortune. The joy quickly turned into fear. If there was fraud, what would happen to me? I had 3 months to claim the prize. It was enough for a house, a dream car, or a lifetime income with smart investments. My wife wanted to leave for Germany immediately, but I was terrified and decided to wait. That night, the girl messaged me, joking that I must be a wizard since she had also become rich because of my guess. Living normally while hiding such a secret was exhausting. Days later, she asked why I hadn't claimed the prize. I didn't reply. I considered hiring a detective, but involving others might mean giving up the money. If the prize was manipulated, I could be committing an international crime. 20 days passed with no news of fraud. Then she wrote again, saying her parents were visiting Brazil on a second honeymoon she had paid for, and that she hoped to see me. I remembered the accident. I didn't believe the girl was involved in anything wrong, but her mother left me full of doubts, only questions.
I am very happy to see you. Now tell me how to divine the numbers in the lotto.
Hello, I am also very happy to see you.
Have you got the money?
Not yet. However, I will go back to Germany soon to do so. And how about you? Is everything okay?
It couldn't be better. Tell me, did you really dream about the numbers?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you're a nice guy. You have kept the award just for yourself.
In fact, I never imagined that my dream was a prophecy of truth. I don't really believe in these things.
Neither do I, but it happened.
Well, then I have another problem. I dreamed that your parents had an aircraft accident. I think we should not tempt fate. Stop them, please, from taking the trip.
Really?
Really.
There was no need to return to Germany to claim the prize. Through a skilled attorney and legal proxy, the money was transferred to a European bank, and within weeks, I was rich. Accepting a guess was not a crime, and neither young Kay nor I had acted unethically. Her parents canceled their trip, and we agreed to keep the matter of premonitions secret. I insisted on discretion, as my professional life was becoming public, and I feared unwanted exposure. I never saw old Miss K again. I exchanged a few cautious messages with young K, keeping my distance after what happened next. The news of the plane crash was devastating. A flight from Europe to Brazil had fallen into the ocean with no survivors. Young K later told me that if not for my warning, her parents would have been on that flight. Regarding the lotto, I was left with two explanations. Either old Miss K had manipulated the raffle, a theory that failed to explain the crash, or she possessed some form of precognition, less absurd than time travel and capable of explaining both events. Her parents remain alive, at least so far. Did I alter a predetermined future? And if so, at what cost? Young K now studies astrophysics in London, as her mother once foretold, and in her spare time, she sings and composes beautiful Gothic rock songs.
My clothes are soaked in black. Dirty water runs, no turning back. Everywhere I look, there's devastation. All is gone, only desolation. Conspiracy, conspiracy theory. The truth was burning right in front of me. Conspiracy, conspiracy theory. The truth was burning right in front of me. Conspiracy, conspiracy theory. They sold us lies and called it liberty.